Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. Okay, someone else has written in and said, I was diagnosed with autism when I was age 5. Mm-hmm. I hate that about myself, and I never tell anyone. The only friends I ever made in my life have autism. I'm almost 22. All my autistic friends are like 21 to 25, but they act like they're 10 years old and don't want to do the stuff that I want to do, like go on vacation without our parents and go out late at night and drink. I really want non-autistic friends, and Target is the only place where I'm around people my age. I started working there last November, and I think the only people who like me here are the TLs. Now, I'm not sure I know what the TLs are. It seems every other TM are friends, team members, okay, team leaders maybe, are friends with each other but me. I'm like the quietest person here. What am I supposed to do? When someone is in the break room, am I supposed to just start talking to them? I do shipping all day and I feel like it's hard to make friends because I'm always moving around alone. I love this question. I hate that this is what this person is going through, but the brilliance of this individual, which is so clear in the question that they're asking, it pierces my heart.
It does, me too. I agree completely. There's so much I want to tell you.
Yeah.
So
where do we start? Let's dig in.
I'm going to try to touch so many different aspects of what you just wrote. First of all, I want to start with the whole being sad about the diagnosis, and I don't want you to be sad about the diagnosis or feel what was the word they used? I'm so mad at it, or
I hate that about myself.
Yeah. Please, no one should ever hate any part of themselves. And that includes you. You should not hate any part of you. You have to love every part of you. We are all coming from the same place. We're all part of God, and there's nothing that you should hate about yourself. And especially in this day and age, like right now, there are so many wonderful opportunities for you, and you will discover your unique talents and your unique strengths. I promise you. Right now, you're so focused on wanting to fit in, which is totally fine, and it's a normal human thing to want to fit in, right? And so it sounds to me like you haven't found your tribe, and you have to start there. You have to find the group of people that make you feel good about yourself. I'll be honest, if I tried to fit in with a group of my former clients who are brilliant people in the robotics and data analysis world, if I tried to fit in with them, and they all have a diagnosis, by the way, I would feel pretty bad about myself. I'd feel pretty dumb, because they are very intelligent, incredible people who know robotics and machine learning and all this sort of stuff. And I could be sitting in that room feeling like, good Lord, when do I even say something? I don't know. I'd feel the same way you feel right now. So clearly you have to find a different tribe. And so let's just start with that, because once you find your own tribe, you feel a lot more self-confident, you feel a lot more comfortable, you begin to enjoy the day-to-day, you're much less self-conscious and worried about everything that you do being right or wrong or being judged or all that. So we have to find your tribe. Now, the way to find your tribe is to stop focusing on the things that are hard for you, and by the way, it looks like you're lost in the middle of two tribes, which is individuals who are kind of on the spectrum and maybe have more severity or more issues to deal with than you do, and then individuals who are neurotypical and or not really understanding the world of autism. I don't know, but let's just leave all those other, because there's millions of tribes out there. Let's just talk about your tribe and what is your tribe. So what are your strengths? What are the things that you enjoy doing? What are you good at? It could be music, could be art, could be sports, could be reading, could be facts, geographic facts, could be memorizing visual things, could be, as I said, robotics, computer science, could be anything, colors, I mean, you name it. It could be whatever it is you are good at. And usually we're good at things that we enjoy doing. So what are some of your hobbies? What are the things that you would do if you had free time? Find people who are doing those things. Don't worry about their social level, their skill level, what's right with them, what's wrong with them. Just find the people that you enjoy doing stuff with. And in that group, when you are all doing things together, you're not going to be so worried about, do I just keep talking to them? Do I go and approach them? Do I not? Whatever. So first find that group and let's get really comfortable and engage in activities where you just feel comfortable and those are the right things for you. Once you have that and you start to feel a little bit better about yourself and you're not coming from a place of desperation, because like whenever we're coming from a place of depression or desperation, we try so hard to fit in that other people are like, whoa, you're trying too hard, So just find your group first. Then we can talk about how to interact with people in different tribes, because that's a whole nother thing as well. I mean, I have my own tribe, and then obviously I have to interact with other people all the time, and I will do it in spurts, right? I can't do 10 hours of interacting socially with people who are different, but I can definitely do it a couple of hours. And I have learned the rules around it, like, everybody likes to sit outside and watch sports. I'm going to do that, I guess, for an hour, and talk about that. But so then when you're at work and you're thinking to yourself, how do I interact with the folks in the lunchroom? Yeah, you'll throw out a couple of sentences. You'll listen more than express. First, listen to the things these people are talking about. Notice the length of their dialogue, because in a lunchroom they're not best friends, they're just colleagues. So they're just throwing out a couple of social sentences to each other, and then when they're done with those social things, they walk back to their desk and they do their thing. Then they'll come back and they might say, oh, did you see such and such on TV? What did you think? Wasn't that great? It's social nothingness, really. It's not deep conversation. When you get the deep friendships and the deep conversation is when you have found your own tribe. So again, you got to go back and focus on that. And I promise you will find people who are very similar to you, who want to do those trips, who want to, are independent like you are and enjoy the same things.
I think that this is the roadmap to all happiness for all people, right?
Absolutely.
Finding your tribe.
Absolutely.
We see this over and over again, and it's one of the reasons why I sort of miss the Big Bang Theory. I just didn't watch it at all. I missed it, and then somebody said, "Oh, there's just a through line of autism through the whole thing," and they don't necessarily love it, but I started watching it. And then I became addicted to it because what it is a group, it's a tribe of people who have found each other.
Yeah, totally.
Whether they're on the spectrum or not, but they've found each other and they don't fit in other places.
Yep.
But they totally fit in with this tribe. And I think it's
right.
what we're all looking for. Can I be honest? I feel like, I did find my tribe in theater, and I recommend doing theater for everyone because The thing I love about theater is that no matter who you are, what you are, there's a job for you in theater, right?
Yeah.
You might be the person who's on the stage or in front of the camera, or you might be the person who's painting the set, or you might be the person who's ushering people to their seats. There are all kinds of roles in theater. There's something for everyone. Whatever you're good at, there's some skill set that can be used in theater. And there is an expression in theater that once you step into the world of theater, you're allowed to fly your freak flag however you want to, right? And that there is an acceptance of that in a theater crowd. We just watched the Tonys, and it was like the freak flag was flown high all night long. And of course, I thoroughly enjoy that. I think the people who are making it look like they fit in all cases, are doing just that, making it look like they fit in.
And they're trying so hard. It takes so much effort.
Yeah, well, that's Temple Grandin just recently said to us. She said, you know what's exhausting to me is having to make small talk.
Yep.
She said, I just don't get it. And she goes, and I don't understand why people want to sit around like, a lounge and make small talk. Like, what is in it for you people? I don't get it.
Yep.
And I thought, oh, don't we all sort of feel that way?
I don't think we do, Shannon. That's the interesting thing. I mean, like, so, you know my husband, he's quite different than I am. And he will always choose a social gathering environment. He will sit and talk for 10 hours. And I think to myself, and I just sit there, honestly, and I try very, very hard to be that person.
Yeah.
And it's just not me. Like, I will do a couple of hours of social because I really enjoy people.
Yeah.
But I enjoy solitude as well.
Yeah.
And I have to have that. I have to have it. Otherwise, after the first 2 hours, all I'm doing is analyzing and trying to figure out why I don't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
Why am I here? What am I going to do? Like, do you know what I mean?
I do.
So it's kind of like you have to find the things you're comfortable with, you're good at, and just live your own life. And then your tribe, I mean, my tribe really was, I think, CARD, right?
Yeah.
When we were at CARD, that was my tribe.
Yeah.
And since then, I had it's like 3 years or so that I'm out of CARD. And of course, I've maintained a lot of relationships and close friendships, but I think I'm in a very different space.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with it because, like, I have ways to entertain myself. I have my family, et cetera, et cetera. But it is super important, especially when you're a young individual, that you find your tribe, because nobody wants to go through life feeling like they're role playing.
Yeah.
But
I'm hearing this a lot from, there's a specific group of young people who feel like they're trapped between the two worlds.
Yeah.
That they don't quite fit in with the neurotypicals, and they don't quite fit in with the people that are on the spectrum, and that they're sort of sandwiched in between and aren't entirely sure what to do. It's tough.
Absolutely. I totally get it. And I want to say that 20 years ago or 30 years ago, there was no tribe for autism.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very happy that there are now groups of individuals who are openly autistic and have their own activities.
Yeah.
And I love that. You don't necessarily, autism is a huge spectrum, and you don't necessarily have to fit into that.
Yeah.
You are who you are, and you don't need a label to define what your tribe is. Like, I love that you used that show. What's the name of it? Big Bang Theory, which I love, by the way.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But because they are all quite different.
Yeah.
They're all very different. And so you don't necessarily need to have a group of people who are on the spectrum or off the spectrum. There can be people who are on other spectrums.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of finding people who have the same kind of activities, hobbies, and going in and enjoying time with them, and then doing stuff to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, right before my son started high school, I got to sit in because you had Liz Lageson from the Peers group come in and train a group of people at CARD.
CARD, right.
And I got to sit in on one of the sessions, and it was the session where she was saying about, what are the ways that we create a billboard to tell other people what we're interested in.
Yes.
And that our clothing is one of the ways that we do this. And my son that was the summer before he was starting high school, and she said, a lot of times with school uniforms, you don't really get as much of a billboard space. So you really got to be thinking about what's on the backpack or what's on the whatever. So we knew he had a school uniform. We knew that there was 2 days that they do a boot camp for the freshmen where they actually get on a bus and they go to a college campus, the high school freshmen, for 2 days and spend this time together and get to know the faculty and get to know each other. And they don't wear the school uniform for that. And so I went to my son and I was like, we got to find 2 T-shirts that have some video game character on it that not everybody would know, that you're really into. And so we spent the whole summer looking for these 2 T-shirts.
Interesting.
After the first day, he got off the bus, and of course, I practically needed to be sedated because I was like, I hope this goes well. He got off the bus and he was like already in a chat with 12 guys because they were like, hey, you like that game? Oh my gosh. And then they all sat together, and these guys are going to go to each other's weddings, but they were cemented on day one because of a T-shirt.
Of that.
So you got to figure out how to let the world know, how you make a billboard to let other people know what your tribe is.
I love that, Shannon. I love that. That's so interesting because if you think about it, because if you think about, I have a massive collection of T-shirts, right? Just because I kept every T-shirt from every concert I ever went to.
We need to make you a T-shirt quilt.
I know, right? I mean, I love all these old concerts. I'm just so attached to these T-shirts though that I don't know if I would ever want to put them in a quilt because I'm worried about them disintegrating. I mean, I got to tell you, some of these T-shirts are from the 70s, right? And so, but they're a billboard to who I am. Yeah. Right? And it's so interesting that you put it that way because I look at my kids and obviously who are adults now, but what they wear is definitely a billboard to who they are. I love saying it that way. That's a very interesting thought.
Well, I look at my friend Rachel Bird, Kobe Bird's mom. She's going to be joining us. We're going to be doing a show with her once a month that's really fun. And Rachel, you will find out, is a little bit of a Disney fan. And I say that ironically because she's a lot of a Disney fan. And she, so she'll have leggings on and they have hidden Mickeys on them. And her purse is some,
aspect of
some movie from Disney, and her wallet is something, and her earrings are something Disney. And you know what? Whenever I go someplace with her, she's a social butterfly, but we'll go someplace and someone will go, "Are your earrings Disney?" And she's like, "Oh," and then. Forget it. Then all of a sudden she knows, she finds out their grandmother's recipe for something. And they're having this conversation that started with that thing because they know she's a Disney fan. And I watch it over. I'm like, what were you talking to them? And she, it turns out that, and she leads this rich social life. But she is always flying her Disney flag somewhere.
That's also I love that, and I find that very interesting because, and most likely she truly enjoys having that conversation.
She does.
One of the things I've noticed with some of my adult kids is that, or adult recurrent kids, is that it's almost like they have practiced for so many years to have dialogue, but I feel like it's not really interesting to them. They're just forcing themselves to continue the dialogue. And our teens do that too, just neurotypical teens do that. Young people do that. I know one of my kids will, force herself to have conversation, but I know that it's not the true her because she would rather talk about something else. And a certain level of that is, of course, all necessary and good because we're all social beings and we all have to live by the same social rules. But I want the person who started this whole dialogue, I want you to just find things that you truly enjoy. Because there's nothing like a conversation that's on the topic that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And then it's just natural.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can find another person who you can have that conversation with, that's the person you want to travel with, by the way. That's the person you want to hang out with, because, you know, you have the same motivations, desires, and all of that.
But can we say that I think there are all these things that we attach to autism where people say, well, you know, the world will say things like people on the spectrum aren't empathetic, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I think they're the most empathetic people in the world.
Extremely.
Or that, you know, because there is a deficit maybe in social skills that they don't want the social skills. I love that this person is writing and saying that I want the socialization, that I want to go out. A perfect case in point was when we went to the Ed Asner poker tournament the other night. I was on the red carpet, and I enjoy that. Let's not, you know, I enjoy that, but it's a lot for me.
Yeah.
It's a lot for me.
Yeah.
And it's sensory overload for me. And like you were saying, you can do something for an hour or two.
I can do about a couple of hours, and that's it.
And I'm putting on a little bit of a face. I'm still me, but I'm putting on a face that it's all okay, and that I don't feel at all awkward shoving a microphone in your face and asking you things and acting like I know you. I'm pretending. I'm pretending, because inside I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But when it was over, my son was there working the event because he works for the Ed Asner Family Center, and so he was there and running around and helping everybody and just working like a dog the whole night. It was fascinating. I was so proud of him. But then the next day I said to him, man, I mean, that really took it out of us, didn't I? I was like, ooh, I can't be doing that every night. That I could not live and do that every night. And he's like, are you kidding?
He loved it.
Oh, he was like, that's my favorite. I could do that every day, Mom.
Amazing.
Wasn't it amazing to be with so many people and so many different people? And, you know,
I love it.
He just thought he was like, why can't we do that every day?
Yep.
And I was like, no, I cannot do that every day. No, that would be a bad thing for Mom.
That's exactly me and Greg, let me tell you. I'm
really?
telling you. Yeah.
So we'll send him with Greg, and they can go have a good time with that. Okay, I'm going to move on. And you guys, the chat is open. You guys can be asking questions. I'm having some difficulty with it, but it is open if you want to ask questions. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here. Don't forget, you can watch Ask Dr. Doreen live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time on autismnetwork.com. We hope to see you there.